Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas and welcome to the first episode of the Christmas ROM Hack Fan Game Marathon of 2023! Oh, for those of you who might have missed the marathon announcement or for any reason at all are not familiar with what this is a marathon where I play a different fan game including obviously ROM hacks every day of December until Christmas Day. The games I play are a combination of games I found in my own travels and suggestions from the comments, and just so you know, suggestions are still open, so anything you might want to see, feel free to tell me. With these big marathons, I always appreciate more suggestions, so do not be shy. And with that little recap out of the way, it's time to officially cut the red tape. And what better game to start with than 1000 Year Door 64? This hack is a big deal for me for a couple of reasons. First and most obviously, I am a huge fan of both the original Paper Mario and TTYD. But also, in case you missed the news, 1000 Year Door is actually getting a full-on remake next year for the Nintendo Switch, which is absolutely insane. I did not think in 3 billion years that Nintendo would ever make a 1000 Year Door anything, let alone a full remake. So yeah, I guess you could say it's kind of a big deal. Fan games like TTYD64 are proof that this is something we've been pining for a very long time. When you got people making fan games, that's pretty much the full confirmation you need that you got a good thing going, and I'm glad to see Nintendo cluing into that. But enough about Nintendo. Let's talk fan games. Paper Mario ROM hacks are rare, but there have been some recent developments, most notably the fact that the game has been successfully decompiled, which, in simple terms, means that the game is now far easier to work with. My understanding of decompilations is that they create a far more efficient workflow for ROM hackers, so anytime a game does get successfully recompiled, it's a good thing. During last year's marathon, I played a ROM hack called Paper Mario The Black Pit, which pretty quickly became one of my favorites, and as it turns out, the creator of TTYD64 is the same person who made Black Pit, so that's very promising from the get-go. Now, TTYD64 is a ROM hack that takes the original Paper Mario on the N64 and updates it with many of the gameplay enhancements of 1000 Year Door, which for me, that's a perfect sales pitch because I always like that one better. You have the stylish commands that increase star power, the more complex action command system, your partner now has their own health bar, which always made more sense to me. And I know what you're thinking. There's no way they added the super guard to the game. There's no way they did that. Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Well then what's this? You look at that, you tell me what that is. I think you know what it is. It's the super guard. They did it! I love both of these games to death, but it is hard to go back to 64's battle system after playing 1000 Year Door for so long. It can't help but feel limiting and underwhelming by comparison, and because there aren't as many variables, it does risk feeling very one-note at times. By adding these flourishes, it instantly becomes more interesting and replayable. But it's not just the newer mechanics that have been brought back. This game also has a ton of musical references that anybody who has played 1000 Beer Store will be able to appreciate. My only criticism here is that some of the tracks sound a little bit wonky in some areas, like maybe they haven't been fully completed, although the game is technically still in beta and is getting patched and updated off and on, so some very minor gripes like this are no big deal in the grand scheme of things. One of the first things you'll notice when you start playing is the quality of life improvements. I think a major component in games like this are all the little micro optimizations, flourishes, that are there to iron out some of the more awkward parts of the base game. And this game has a lot of them. There's actually a feature where you can press start to fast forward through the dialogue at light speed, and for most of the people playing this ROM hack, that's good. If you are playing a modified version of Paper Mario, then chances are you played the base game a number of times and already know what all the dialogue is about. So this is a very convenient feature for people who don't want to spend all that time reading. There is another neat feature where you can skip the introductory prologue, which of course is just an excuse for Bowser to kill you in a scripted fight and throw you out the window. People who make ROM hacks tend to have a unique appreciation for the psychology of people who play the base game because they themselves have, in most cases, played the game so much themselves, and it's always great to see that reflected in their work. I think for me though, the thing that really puts this game over the finish line is all the new areas that were added. Even though the world and the progression is pretty much the same in terms of broad strokes, tons of neat new areas and rooms have been added to make the game more lively. In the beginning, you got this secret whack-a-mole minigame where you can replay it for a higher score. You have these secret areas that contain shine sprites which replace the little upgrade blocks from the original. You have all these new areas and secrets in the game, and I bet you're thinking, alright, I guess that's pretty cool, but it's not like they added in the Pit of 100 Trials or anything like that. Oh yeah? Tough guy? That's right, Bubby, a fully functional, fully complete Pit of 100 Trials was added to the game. Now tell me this isn't the greatest ROM hack in history. Having beaten the original game on numerous occasions, playing this ROM hack kinda feels like playing through an expanded and enhanced version of the original. If they made DLC or definitive editions back in those days, I like to imagine this is what it would look like, you know what I mean? It is worth noting that to see everything the game has to offer, you would have to do a full playthrough of the game, though the time constraints of the marathon prevent me from doing so. But having gotten several hours in, I can definitely say it is absolutely worth playing through Paper Mario again just to get at all that neat stuff. And with the addition of quality of life improvements and new difficulty modes which you can use to make the game easier or harder than usual, it truly feels like a new experience, even for those of you who have beaten the original game several times. There's even a mode that randomizes enemies and items from item blocks, just on the off chance that you thought this had to be an easy video game. So if you're about to ask me if this is a game worth playing, be honest, you already know the answer. This is way more than just a quality of life improvement to Paper Mario. It's a straight up quality thing. Shit, I had something for this. I'm out of practice, but oh well, Santa time. Ho ho ho! Thank you for watching the first episode of the Christmas fan game ROM hack marathon thing. Now don't forget to tune in for tomorrow's video. I'm not going to spoil the surprise for you, but I'll say it like this. Have you ever heard the Christmas song Silver and Gold? Well, one of those things applies here, but I won't tell you which one. Merry Christmas!